Yo, what's up, guys? So we're here to showcase off the Playmaker Cyberse deck, Dark Fluid, and this could be the next best deck. I'm not even like saying that as clickbait. When I was sent these replays, I'm like, oh, Cyberse Playmaker. I'm like, yeah, it's cool for some, like, you know, anime nostalgia. No! This deck is insane. Just watch what you're going to be able to potentially pull off. And we're going to showcase it off against, you know, the Orcas. We're going to be showcasing off against, well, right now it's having great. Two of what I would say are one of the better decks right now in the game. But watch what you can pull off. Specifically, this card, Cynet Codec, is insane. And then on top of that, I doubt they're just going to randomly hit anything in Cyberse. But this card right here is what I got to pause and talk about for 1 second. The Code Radiator makes it so if you use it as material for a Link monster and it's used from the field, you get to target 2 monsters and just negate their effects and make their attacks 0, which is going to be really dumb when your opponent has multiple cards up on the board and you're able to go into something that'll let you draw a bunch of cards, and then at this point you're just going to be like, dude, that's OP, how come no one's playing it? That's what I was thinking. Like, this deck is actually super strong. And again, depending on what other Cyberse support we get, after of course getting Dark Fluid, which is kind of what you need to be making turn 1 here, but it's got 2800 attack, and it's going to be able to attack multiple times. You can activate that effect, and look, okay, you just drew 3 cards off that, but you can activate this effect. So this card can attack your opponent's monsters a number of times on the battle phase up to the number of monsters that it points to. And then +1. And then also for the rest of the turn, if your opponent controls exactly 1 monster and this card battles, this card loses 400 attack. But it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be making this card if they don't happen to have multiple monsters. But this card, look at this. I mean, we just board disrupted. He had technically 1 card that could stop something over there. And then we have 3 cards up on the board, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in hand. And then main phase 2, we're going to go completely off. And Dark Fluid does not have a once per turn. So when you make that card, your opponent's not going to be able to really do too much. And on top of that, it gains an insane amount of attack during the battle phase, which is nice, but it's just mostly for just being able to have 4 negates your opponent isn't playing. Like, if you go second with this deck, you can still make a lot of plays. Again, it comes down to the Radiator being able to... Look at this! You tell me that this doesn't look like S tier. In this instance, we have 3 negates, so his opponent's obviously going to go ahead and try some stuff. Not happening over here. Negated Gazelle, going in for that effect, negated. Again, the fact that it's not like a once per turn just makes this card so much better. Now, there is a downside, it does not destroy the card, but still just... You're going to be able to just stop your opponent from going off. And on top of that, they also have a negate anything card with conflict over here. Yeah, that obviously is going to be GG because, well, as long as you control a code talker monster, whenever anything is activated, you get to negate the activation and then banish it. And then on top of that, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects with the same original name as the banished card. So it's kind of like Called by the Grave on top of that. Really good stuff. And then on top of that, we still had a full hand to go in next turn with 7 cards. Like, it's insane. It really is. And again, Dark Fluid still has a 1 negate. So it's just not looking too good. And let's go ahead and just watch this play out. Again, this was a huge surprise to me. Like, I felt like this is a sleeper S tier deck. Like, when's the last time you saw someone playing Cyberse and you're like, dude, I'm kind of worried about it? I think it's because people are just not knowing, well, technically some of the cards aren't out yet, so that's also a thing. But again, Code Radiator is just, oh my gosh, this card is so good. Now, if you can use it from your hand as material, but you can only negate 1 effect if you happen to do this. So we already basically used 1 card as a negate, and then on top of that, our opponent still has 2 negates here. So in this instance, we're going to go ahead and attack over the Heretic Seal. That card's pretty easy to get over. Then we're going to go ahead and attack right over the Sloth that is brought up by the Celestial Spheres because it does make it 0. But he's going to go ahead and actually have to stop Code Radiator. Otherwise, this card's going to have 0 attack and have its effects negated anyways. And then we're going to go ahead and, again, Cynet Codec is really like just kind of what I would consider like an OP card. Like, I know it sounds like a joke, but this deck is good. Like, again, I don't think anything will be hit with this deck on the next ban list. I know we just recently got the ban list, but there's no way they're going to hit like anything out of this. If anything, I don't know, maybe Mermaid might be hit because everyone's playing that deck right now. And it's a good deck. Anyways, Pendulum is still what I would consider a pretty decent deck, especially when you can open up with... He would have had 3 negates technically, but the Impermanence was going to stop him. But at this point, you guys already know the drill. Just go ahead, go right into the Dark Fluid. And the advantage that the Cynet Codec generates, and on top of that, the chain blocking that can exist just because of this card existing can be very, very powerful as well. And then we're going to go ahead and go for Fusion, go for our Chimera. That's basically going to allow us to just get those double cards right back into our hand. And it's basically just free fodder. And then on top of that, we got the Dark Fluid. Again, 4 counters. 3 or 4 counters is generally what you'd be getting with this card. And because you do play the Ritual, you can get technically more potential counters really easy. He goes ahead and makes Warlord. And now we have 13,000 attack during the battle phase. He's going to go ahead and summon some cards. We'll go ahead and reduce the Dark Fluid's attack. It's okay we don't negate that effect because we gain 2,500 for each counter anyways, so we can go ahead and deal with that later down the line. He's not going to necessarily destroy this card by battle in the first place. So he's going to go ahead and attack and bounce that card back. And he's going to go ahead and just get some damage directly. And it has 9,500 attack. But again, it's very hard to trade into this card because even if its attack is reduced, when you try to battle it, it's just going to gain all of that attack right back. You basically can't win at this point because you can just attack and hit him for 9,500 directly. And look at this! 6 cards in hand, by the way. And I was just like, dude, this deck is legit. Like, it's honestly so insane. Playmaker, dude, making those plays. Alright, so let's check it out. This is up against a Orcus deck. Pretty much the deck that, it's got the dangers, it's got the Orcus. It's pretty much, I would say, what I would consider like the one of the more popular decks, and unfortunately we do get stopped over here. So it's going to be a Code Talker pass, but we still have Cynet Conflict, which again, this card is a negate and banish, and your opponent can't activate cards at all for the rest of the turn. Maybe if you summon that Harp Kappa, but it didn't really matter. If you would have tried to go into it, it would have gotten stopped anyways. So we're going to go ahead and get Ash Blossomed here. But that's not really going to matter too much because, again, the reason why this deck is so good, it just plays through things, kind of like how Dangerous can just kind of play through things. Now, with this deck, technically you are kind of restricted. A lot of the cards, you can only go for Cyberse monsters, so there's not any, like, mix-ups or splashes that you can throw in. But, like, this card itself, you banish just any spell card, add the Cyberse Ritual and the Cynet Ritual. So basically, you get the double cards, and you're just going to be able to just, if you want to, you can activate it. But basically, it's just discard fodder, or just basically more food for Dark Fluid Dragon. And once again, you guys already know the drill. It's playing into boards. It can make turn 1 boards. In this instance, again, another 4 negates. Good luck trying to play any deck at this point. I would say he didn't open up what I would consider like uber tier. Actually drawing any copies of the Blades or Crescendo are kind of just -1s at the end of the day. But look at that, 13,000. I mean, it doesn't matter what monster would have been on board if it's an attack position, which, I mean, unless you've got Dingirsu set up with, of course, the field spell. It's not going to be looking too good now. Up against Invoked over here. We're showcasing off, again, against a lot of what would be considered stronger picks over here. So that gets negated, unfortunately. But Clock Wyvern, going to go ahead and summon. Going to go ahead and try to get that token. That also gets stopped. But again, Cynet Codec right there to save the day. Just so much free advantage, again, off of that card. And again, just being able to go for that negate anything is powerful. It's a turn 1 play that I would say has a lot more consistency versus, like, if you've played Orcus, sometimes if you just don't happen to have any options to go for the combo turn 1, which is obviously just go for generally the Mermaid, or if Mermaid gets stopped, there isn't any real follow-up play, whereas this deck just has a lot more, and at this point he's just like, well, whatever. At this point, can't be targeted, can't be destroyed, and at that point, he's just like, I don't even want to play. No, this is just against a Dark Magician deck. It's just kind of more different plays that you can make. Again, I really feel like the Code Radiant, and keep in mind, the card that recently came out, Mining, just being able to add any of the Cyberse cards. Again, Radiator is just so insanely good. to break boards because what do? Stop Radiator? Radiator doesn't even care. It's like, I've already got my value out of Radiator by either using it as material or I just link someone using it and then bam, they're all 0 again. Like, I just think it's kind of mean, but like, it's good. And it easily has potential to be a very competitive deck. It's the best Playmaker deck that I've seen, and on top of that, after watching this, do you guys think that the deck is good now? I certainly have changed my mind, because when I was playing Legacy of the Duelist Link Evolution, and I was just like seeing like, you know, the Playmaker deck, I'm like, oh, this is just like, it's not that, obviously these cards are much better than what I had technically available, but it's good. Now this one over here is just going to be showcasing off just unfair stuff, so we're going to go ahead and have that effect negated by impermanence, and then we also get Ash Blossom. So again, playing into the hand traps is much more available in this deck. Again, Kodak, it really is unfair. Just go for it, man. No problem, dude. Just target one of those Cyberse monsters. One of those monsters and a Cyberse monster with a different attribute. So you basically just get to go through all of the colors, and like the amount of pluses that you get off this card, unreal, dude. If only this card was like you could just terraforming for it, I'd do even better. There is technically like a field spell that you can play with it, but I don't think it's really that necessary. Again, the free pluses. This is playing. Like, look at this. How balanced is this? Oh, dude, just go ahead, add doubles, no problem. And then we also have the Paladin Storm Dragon. But if it attacks a monster, you can return that monster. Like, it adds a utility against certain cheesy things. And then you tribute it, special summon a 5 or higher Cyberse monster. And once again, Dark Fluid 4 negates. It's good, dude. It is good. But yo, shoutouts to my boy Playmaker for sending this in. I mean, we don't even have Call by the Grave. Who needs to stop a hand trap? We need to just play right through them. That is such a surprise. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop in right to the deck profile. We've got Clock Wyvern, Lady Debugger, 3 copies of Balancer Lord, 2 copies of the Code Raider, the MVP I would say here, and then we got the Cyberse Gadget, and then we got the Firewall Guardian, and we got 3 copies of the Widget Kid, 2 copies of the Code Generator, 1 copy of the Backup Secretary, 1 C Archiver, 1 copy of the Cyberse Converter, 1 Link Infra Flyer. A lot of these are just like really just special summon cards, and then 3 copies of Micro Coder, and then 1 Cyberse Synchron. We got the Dot Scrapper, 2 copies of Cyberse Magician, 3 copies of Signet Mining, 1 Signet Fusion, 1 Signet Ritual, 1 Signet Optimize, 3 copies of Codec, and then 2 copies of Impermanence, and then 2 copies of Signet Conflict, which again just negates everything. And we got the Clock Dragon, Chimera, Quantum Interrogator, Reminder, Dark Fluid Dragon, obviously one of the newer cards, and then Shooting Code Talker, X-Code Talker, the other Talker card, if we say that name, we get demonetized. Kappa, not even Neiman, Inverted Talker, and then Code Talker, Clock, Sportoy, Cyberse Witch, and Cyberse Wicked, and lastly the Talkback Lancer. These are probably cards that he actually side decks. I think this is excellent against, you know, Alter guys, against any variant of the Mystic Mine. It could be great against that as well. But really good stuff, dude. Like I said, I did not expect this with this deck, and I don't think any of you guys saw this as a threat at all. But I think what really makes this, like, this card is definitely great as a stepping stone that lets you just target a Signet spell and trap and add it to your hand, which is really good. Unfortunately, you can only use 1 Signet Mining, otherwise that'd be pretty unfair. But this card was a great stepping stone. But I really think that what makes this deck like a lot more viable in the future, because again, the reason why you're probably not seeing it like in real life right now is because this card is pretty important, considering it allows you to make these first turn boards. Because before, what they would do is they would just be like, okay, encode this talker guy, like I said, can't say his full name. But they would just like do this. It's like, you can't target me, you can't destroy me. And I'm like, I don't even care, dude. Like, non-targeting didn't Gearsu, no problem. But now with like the addition of Dark Fluid, it's just like 4 negates, play out of that, and then I have like 6 or 7 cards in hand, and then maybe just a negate anything. It's just like, it's hard to play against, honestly. And like I said, it's a very resilient deck, but this card, dude, if this card gets hit, I'd laugh, dude, but that's the deck, man. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure that bell's on so you don't miss out on other crazy Yu-Gi-Oh decks. And like this deck could be pretty cheap, unless of course it's a short print secret rare Kappa. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys got any cool other replays like this, I would love to see it, dude. Send it to azneyesreplays@gmail.com. Shouts again to my boy Playmaker for making some big boy plays. Thanks for watching, and peace.